Mobile content management systems deal with content that is destined for mobile devices. Now, there's a number of ways to accomplish that. Three predominant mechanisms would be, first and foremost, to have a website that can simply be accessed by the mobile device's browser. Secondly, you might have a native mobile application. And thirdly, you could have an ebook. So let's take a look at each one of those. Now, if you've got a website and you want to be able to distribute the information through normal computers, but you also, as an add-on, want mobile users to access the content as well, that makes a lot of sense. The difficulty is that the mobile device's screens are small, so you will want to format the content for the smaller screen, and there's many techniques of doing that which are quite simple. But if, on the other hand, you need more than just the displaying of information, you need to provide functionality to the users, you may need a mobile application. Now, when you look at mobile applications, there again are two different mechanisms to accomplish that. First and foremost, you could use whatever native programming language, so Objective-C for the Apple mobile devices, the iPhones, the iPads, or Java for Android. And going down that road, you need to have resources that are competent with being able to program in those particular languages. Another approach would be to take the content in an HTML format, say HTML5, which is quite rich in its capabilities, and then take a wrapper in the native language, which contains a browser to be able to display that. Now, this is a technique which is being used more and more, particularly in scenarios where users want to go out to more than one type of mobile platform. So if you wanted to have Android and iPhone, you would, without HTML5, you would have to program in Objective-C and program in Java. So you're doubling the amount of effort to get out to those devices. But if you develop it in HTML5 and then have a native wrapper around it with a browser, you can actually decrease the amount of effort significantly. Now, there are some downsides to that. There are only a limited number of things that you can do with a wrapper on around HTML5 that you would normally be able to do within the native programming languages. So you have to kind of look at what it is you want to be able to do and which is most appropriate for you. The third mechanism, which is often overlooked, is the use of ebooks. Now, there's two main options here as well. First of all, there's EPUB, which is a standard for ebooks. But if you're going to be heavily relying on either iPhone or iPad, you might want to take a look at iBooks Author. It is an extremely easy to use interface for developing very rich featured set books. It's free from iTunes as well. And it can do some pretty amazing things. Now, it's only for iBooks and iPhones, so it may or may not be applicable to you, but it's definitely worth looking at. Now, one main consideration, and this is how things sort of tie back into content management systems, is that you need to have, or in many circumstances, you need to have a centralized way of managing that information, particularly if you are going out to multiple devices. So whatever your mobile content management strategy, you should have an idea of how content can be maintained centrally and then pushed out to your mobile devices. And that may very well be some sort of an application update, or it might be simply through updating information on a server, web server. That depends on, again, the type of content and the type of features that you're looking for implementing in your mobile device.